What's up? I know, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. It's your boy McFly, Tata McFly, as per usual. I know I ain't done this in a very long time, you know, versus my first episode one of my journey, but I've been going through a lot of things, and I'm a real nigga. I'm real. I'm real. I'm not a man who will sit here and tell you, I've been doing, good things. I've been not doing bad things. And I'm not trying to sit on here and be some sob ass YouTuber to any of you. That's just not me. You know what I mean? What other YouTubers do, that's them. I'm just not gonna sit here and be in people's face trying to be sad all the time. I may say a couple sad things from time to time, but that's just me being human. I try to not be too human in terms of not trying to express myself on the internet because I see how people react. And it's not on a judgment, so it's just like, it's not needed sometimes. Everyone knows what everybody goes through because we all go through the same things. But that's not what I'm here to get on here to say. Yeah, my lifting journey has as I explained, I don't remember what I explained in the first episode, but but to give you an update, I've been veering off from lifting, here and there, because I've been in a dark place, but not in a way of how do I want to say this? Not in a way that I don't want to lift anymore. I don't want to become what I said in the first video. I've been on a philosopher type of journey, and I've been going through a lot of emotions in my mind, in my brain, and thought processes that I've been trying to grow, and over time I have grown a lot. I've grown a lot. I'm gonna tell you like as much. You'll know in due time how far I've grown. My brothers out there that I've talked to, on a daily basis, they kind of know. They don't know the entire story, but I told them enough to where they don't have to worry about me too much in certain aspects. I go through what everybody goes through. Some people, it's a little different, and that's okay. That's you becoming who you are for your story. But I was lifting for quite some time, and I was on my grind. And last year, I was, of course, as you can see from the shirt, I was working for Amazon. Didn't really like it, but it was a good workout. It was something to keep my body going, keep my mind going. I'm the type of man, I work overtime. I work overtime the entire fucking year. Kid you not. But I went out of town, to one of my brothers, one of my boys' baby shower, and I enjoyed it. I took some time to think about a lot of things. Went to the club for the very first time. Went to the club for the very first time. Mind you, I was 24 at the time. Went to the club for the very first time. Enjoyed it. I really, 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 really did enjoy it. And I enjoyed the part where I got to finally get out the house, to finally not be cooped up after drama and emotions that I've had to go through previously before I went. Got to play pool. That was fun. I enjoyed the hell out of pool. Oh my God, it's the most wonderful thing. And for a lot of guys out there, get a pool table, or go to one of the spots that always have a whole bunch of pool tables. Take your guys. I don't care if you hood. I don't care what type of category of person in society you are. Always take your boys out. Go drinking. Get a couple beers. I know you probably don't drink beers. Get a couple beers with your bros. Go shoot a couple pool. Try to play. Get a little competitive. This shit's pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah. So used to work for Amazon. I came back and worked for 2 weeks, and they kind of fired me. I guess the time I put in didn't go fully in, and I guess they didn't take it, and Once you get a certain amount of negative points, they give you some type of paper or whatnot. Mind you, I'm not a bullshit worker. I bust my ass. Every job I've ever had, I bust my ass. You understand? I'm not a type of man that wants to be lazy. I'm not a man. I'm not gonna sit here and say I do lazy things. But when I'm working for money and I'm grinding, I love it. I love it. I'm all for it. Content wise, doing the content like everybody else doing, the internet, I don't like it too much because I don't feel, it's not that the grind is just like wanting to do that. It takes time and it takes a lot of patience. And, in today's society, you can't keep, the grind is very hard. I'm not going to keep it, I'm going to keep it a buck. The grind is hard and you could be in a hole and no one can know it, but it is what it is. So they fired me. The day of, I came into work. They didn't tell me before. I wish they would have, so I wouldn't have had to come to work and work a couple hours. But I did. And, went home. Kind of wasn't too sad, because every time I leave one job, I find a better job most of the time. So I'm not really tripping on that part. I always go with the flow. I always tell people I'm going to go within the wind. I could have went back, but, predicaments, on reasons I couldn't go back. And plus, I'm not the type of man to go back to a place that never wanted you, And I've seen workers that don't bust their ass as much as I did, which is a lot of people there. But I'm not here to judge other people or say I'm better than somebody else. Even though I just kind of stated it, that's not what I'm trying to, that's not my intent. And, I kind of coasted, tried to live a good life, sitting on my ass for a month. And then it became 2 months, and then it became 3, and then it became 4, and then it got too long. And, I tried, sign a couple job applications to Michelin, see if I can get there again. I guess I didn't put a good enough application because I didn't get a call back. Maybe I need to call them. So advice, make sure you call the place and let them know. Because, I'm still young. I'm still learning. I understand I'm about to be 26 this year. I'm 25, but everybody's story is different. Everybody's lives are different. We go through different things. We think differently. We don't have a lot of people to give us all the information we need and this and the third. And over time, I kept grinding and lifting, of course, after I got fired. That went on about 3 months. And then the 4th month, it got to a point where I got kind of lost and, I got kind of tired because every day I would wake up, it was just the only thing I could do was work out. Now I understand everybody's hiring somewhere, but I need a job to put me in a position to the things I've wanted to do in my life. You understand? And I understand that sounds stupid, but that's your way of thinking. I have a different way of thinking. Just like there's thousands of different philosophies that don't align to each other directly, that's just me. You know what I mean? I want a job where I can make some good enough money to where I can do the things I want to do, especially give a lot more time into content, because that's what I want to do. I want to do that. I want to have time to do this and be at the gym doing this and, have a lot more equipment and do a lot of other things and do a lot of business ventures that I've wanted to do. That's just me. And I understand that may come off as dumb to you. But, over time, I slowed down. I started lifting from 3 times a week to 2 times a week to 1 time to like every 2 weeks. And I would barely even do a full workout. But, I come in here in the garage, as you can see the weights in the background from the reflection. I come in here, I thought, I lift a couple weights. I do some barbell curls, some military press, standing up though. Well, I don't know if that's called military press. It is what it is. Some shoulder press. But for the most part, I'm kind of disappointed in myself from last year. And I'm kind of disappointed in myself from this year. And you might say, man, it's all right. Now, sometimes it's not all right, especially as a man nowadays, and what society is built upon and my ideals of how things should move and work. It's not okay, lifting, like I said, is a part of my life more than anything on this entire planet. I think about it every day. Every time I wake up, I think about working out, thinking about improving my body. And I started letting go of my body a little bit. Not to the point where I'm out of shape like fat, but I'm not, it's like, it's just, my body can maintain a certain type of physique without me having to lift. I'm just fortunate enough to be able to do that. I can really go in the weight room like I never left after being gone from a year. Kid you not. But for me, I kind of let a lot of things control me, especially dealing with women nowadays. But we're not here to talk about that type of stuff. This is a lifting channel where I may talk about a couple ideas and philosophies, but this is mostly a lifting channel. I don't want to talk about that type of stuff here. I may do another channel where I talk about my philosophies, or I may never talk about it. You may have to meet me in person for me to talk about it. But for the most part, I've struggled with, females all my life, and it's been hard. I struggle with family, females, and friends. And I've gotten to the conclusion that sometimes you don't have the help you need. Sometimes some people have to be the Lone Ranger. Now, I'm not saying I'm a Lone Ranger in terms of entirely my life, because, I still got my boys that I grew up in high school with. I still live with Grams, which is, you might laugh at me, but hey, I live with Grandma. She my rock. She been there since birth, you know what I mean? I lived with her most of my life, I've grown, accustomed. I'm a little, mischievous from time to time and hard-headed, but still love my grandma to death. I'm just struggling with life and wanting to do better for myself. I'm struggling with it, and I don't know why. I can't explain it. There was things that happened to me that I don't want to explain right now that just made me, the way I am right now. But I don't take that away and I don't take blame on that situation, because I'm my own person and I understand that I can do better instantly. But I just kind of dwelled on the past, and I sometimes need to stop doing that. But the past is beautiful because you realize what it taught you, where it took you, the person it made you to become. Whether, I don't know for you, but for me, I became a better person. I'm gonna say a little bit about women. I struggled, at first. Started having disgust, started having a little bit of hatred, and the hatred kind of grew, and I had to slow down because I realized, like, what is the point of hating someone you don't know? Things you hear on the internet and this and the third. But I realized, is that what I want to be known for? Thinking about that type of situation, whether women do what they want? No. I want to be remembered as a man that done something remarkable with his body that no one has ever done in their entire life. And you might think, like, this is a regular lifting channel where I'm gonna be lifting and gonna be in competitions and doing all that. No. This is something it's gonna change the world. And I know that they may come across as corny, but the visions I've had, the visions I've had, the dreams, the ideas that I've stored in for so long needs to come out. And I need the world to see something different, bring a new light to the world. And I don't want to be what you've all seen on the internet before. That's why I've mainly not done the internet stuff, because I don't want to be what you've seen already. I understand, I can still grow from it, but that's not me. I love to be different. I've always tried to not be different and fit in to society on how things are done, but I just can't do that. That's just not my nature. I've always wanted to be different. I've always wanted to think outside the box. And it's one of those things where I appreciate to myself, I appreciate myself on wanting to think outside the box and create something new. And I finally have. I've had for a long time. I just never really acted onto it because, my emotions and trying to control my emotions and deal with, day-to-day life. But that's a little bit of situation that I've been dealing with. But I've been getting a little too lazy, not working for so long, not working out, putting the burden on my grandma, which is not good. It's not good. I need to finally do what I've said that I was meant to do. You know, it's one of those things where you just got to look at yourself in the mirror every day. And it's been hard to look at myself in the mirror lately, very lately. And when I do, I really look and I'm always disappointed. It's a good disappointment. It's not a bad disappointment. It's a good disappointment. Like, why are you still... We've gone through everything. We've gone through emotions. We've gone through friends. We've gone through family. We've gone through drama. We've sat down multiple times brainstorming ideas of where you want to be in the future, and you still haven't done it. What's taking you so long? It's so crazy, because when I look at myself in the mirror, it's like I'm talking to a different person. I'm seeing me, but I'm talking to a different person. Another person's talking to me, going, why are you still doing this? What are you waiting for? Christmas? What are you waiting for? Sunshines and rainbows? What are you waiting for? Something to be laid in your lap? Yeah, you can pray. Yeah, you can do such and such. But you got to do it yourself. And that's one of those things I struggle with. I struggle with it so much, you know. I'm very disappointed in myself. Very, very, very disappointed in myself. Because it's like, I could have changed my life. I could have did a whole 360. But I'm sitting here dwindling on the past. And you know, I do want to say, like, the past, it's beautiful. Because it shows what you would have made in your heart. Not in your brain, but in your heart. But my brain is telling me, I understand you think the past is beautiful, but look around. You're still here. You're not in the best shape. You're not driving yet. That's sad, bro. You're a 25-year-old man. Yeah, I understand. You know, I'm not a man to high, you know. You're a 25-year-old man not driving no job. You've been not having a job for quite some time. And you barely even try, because I kind of, you know, stopped trying. And you also, I'll be feeling like you disappointed your grandma. Like you've told her that you want to own your own business and do this and the third, and you still here. What are you doing? On your ass, sitting on your ass, waking up smelling like shit, smelling like Dick Buckus, you know? You know, get your punk ass up and get to work. You sitting here for what? You know, that's me talking to myself. It's like, I'm sitting here for what? What are you sitting here waiting for? You got all the time in the world. I understand your age doesn't define your time and things you wanted to do. Because things people wanted to do, they've done things that others have take longer in, you know? And it's like, why are you still waiting? You can't just let the people around you define who you are. You can't let your past define who you are. You need to grow, motherfucker. Get your punk ass up. You know? You can't be just sitting here acting like a bitch. Get up. Why are you sitting here acting like you can't do nothing? Do something with your life. Sitting here acting like sunshines and rainbows. You think something's going to lay in your lap. What world do you think you in? A fantasy world? Like, it's just like, just get up, man. Do what you do. You love the gym. Get back to working out. You want to improve your body, do it. But sometimes I will say to that, you know, me talking to myself, I always say after I have that look in that conversation with myself, I'll say one of my biggest fears is who I will become. And I say this because it's not because of what society and other people have done, you know, once coming up off of the internet and, you know, whatever it is they do, whether it's the internet or not. But I'm scared that I'm going to be a bad person towards people. And that's not what I want to be. I want to be a good person. I understand it's like you shouldn't cater, you shouldn't care what other people do. But sometimes you got to realize, a lot of you need to understand you should care. because sometimes not every comment is a bad comment. It's constructive criticism. You got to be able to look yourself in the mirror and realize, do I do that stuff? That is kind of bad. And you should want to be improved to be a better human being. People not going to do good to you, but you should do good to others regardless of the situation. And if you're religious, your Father will tell you that's the way to go. You know what I mean? And that's how I want to be remembered as. A man who, no matter what he went through, he done good by others. No matter how bad they did him, no matter how bad they cheated him, stole from him, took from him, put him in bad situations, made him feel sad, made me cry, and this and the third. I want to be remembered as a man who strived above and beyond. And I carry the weight that is incomprehensible. And I want to tell the viewers that are watching this, I'm sorry, you know, I have been getting lazy. And I've been acting like a bum and stuff lately. Well, for quite some time now. I'm sorry. But I make this video just to let you know it's not go time. It's not, I'm getting back on it. I'm not finna spew that whole bullshit. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done not trying hard enough. I'm done not going past 100%. I'm gonna give it full effort, no matter what. And I'm gonna get to a point where you all see a change in me so that you look back at this video and you go, damn, he really did something. I'm not gonna be scared. I'm not gonna be, and I'm gonna always try to remember who I am and not try to forget. That's the one thing I don't want to forget, who I am currently now, and not let things change me in the future. No matter if I get money, no matter if I get a better lifestyle, I'm not going to change. I don't want to change. I want to stay the same person, because the same person that you see before you has a better understanding of life than anybody I've ever met on the internet or in person. Truth be told. That's just my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt or a grain of rice. But I want to do better. I want to be better. I want to improve my body and do the things that I've been wanting to show the world that I'm capable of, what a human being is capable of. I've cooked long enough in my brain. I've sat in my brain and meditated and talked to myself for so long, but it's time that I show who I am. So with that being said, since, you know I've been lazy and lifting, let me pump out a couple of shoulder presses real quick, just to show I ain't too rusty. You know what I mean? Let me set this up. Now, on this bar, it's crazy because I don't lift that much, so kudos to me. I got a 45 with a 10 and a 5, so that equates to 65. 65 on each side. I think 65 or 60. Could be wrong by my math. With the 45, so that's about maybe okay. I don't know my scale, but I'm gonna bust out these 10 for you. Now, granted, my body a little weak, so I may start shaking a little bit. That's because I don't lift as much. But I ain't gonna be no bitch, because grandma didn't raise no bitch. Whew. Plus, I gotta do this. I gotta change my life for my grandma, because I said I wanted to make her proud of me and go on my own and do the things I always wanted to do. So with that being said, let's burn this little 10 out and end this little video. This is episode 2, McFly. Let's do this. That was a little stretcher.